Hello, my crafty friends. I'm going to do a page in my scavenger hunt journal, and it's getting nice and fluffy. Maybe a little more than I expected. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Today I'm going to do the page about your favorite artist, and as with everything else, I don't have just a favorite artist, but one of my favorite artists is Ansel Adams. And there are people who don't consider photography an art form, but I definitely do. And I didn't get great images of his photographs because I just printed them off on my black and white laser printer. But the amount of contrast that he could get out of a black and white photograph, I've always been haunted by those pictures. I love them. And you know when it's an Ansel Adams photograph, there's just something about what he could do to develop that contrast that was wonderful. I've got some quotes and some pictures, and this is a picture of him. It's one of my favorite ones that I've seen of him because he's got that big format camera in there, and I love that camera. So I do want to read a little bit about him. I'm not going to put this information in the book, but I just wanted to read a little bit about him so you have an idea of who he was and what he was like, and then I'll just put the pictures and quotes in there. Ansel Adams rose to prominence as a photographer of the American West, particularly Yosemite National Park, using his word to promote conservation of wilderness areas. His iconic black and white images helped to establish photography among the fine arts. Ansel Easton Adams was born on February 20th, 1902. As a young child, he was injured in the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. He was a hyperactive and sickly child with few friends. He was dismissed from several schools for bad behavior. He was educated by private tutors and members of his family from age 12. Adams taught himself the piano, which would become his early passion. In 1916, following a trip to Yosemite National Park, he also began experimenting with photography. He learned darkroom techniques and read photography magazines, attended camera clubs meetings, and went to photography and art exhibits. He developed and sold his early photographs at Best Studio in Yosemite Valley. In 1928, Adams married Virginia Best, the daughter of the Best Studio proprietor. Virginia inherited the studio from her artist father on his death in 1935, and the Adamses continued to operate the studio until 1971. The business, now known as the Ansel Adams Gallery, remains in the family. Adams joined photographers Dorothea Lange and Walker Evans in their commitment to effecting social and political change through art. Adams' first cause was the protection of wilderness areas, including Yosemite. After the internment of the Japanese people during World War II, Adams photographed life in the camps for a photo essay on wartime injustice. By the 1960s, an appreciation of photography as an art form had expanded to the point at which Adams' images were shown in large galleries and museums. In 1974, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York hosted a retrospective exhibit. Adams had a heart attack and died on April 22, 1984, at the age of 82. Ansel Adams wasn't just a nature photographer, he was also an innovator and a conservationist. His expertise in black and white photography was due in no small part to the technical mastery of sharpness and contrast. But many of his fans gravitate toward his photography because of the beauty he found in nature. He found a niche in the aesthetic representation of landscapes that through the eye of it says auteur, but I think it probably is supposed to be amateur, appear even more beautiful without color. Adams picked his first camera, a Kodak Brownie box camera, in 1916. That same year, he and his parents vacationed at Yosemite National Park. With camera in hand, he explored the natural environment on that trip. That experience proved formative for his lifelong mutual interest in nature and photography. He became involved with the Sierra Club in 1919 and published his first photographs in their bulletin in 1922. Through his continued interest in Yosemite, he met his wife, Virginia Best, and married her in 1928, and they had 2 children. Even though Adams' photographs may look like straightforward landscapes, he developed a recognizable style. Along with Fred Archer, Adams is known for his innovative development of the zone system, a method for determining the relative contrast of a photographic image. Particularly crucial in black and white photochemical post-processing, the zone system offers photographers a standard map for deciding on the appropriate balance of shading, which is too often underestimated in an age when digital photography and snapshots have become commonplace. The contrast of a photograph can have significant impact on the sharpness and the sense of depth. Adams achieved a distinctive aesthetic style using large format photography in which the sharpness of the image added to the sense of vermicelitude, I'm not sure how you say that, despite its lack of color. His aesthetic preference of realism over pictorialism set him apart in an era in which photographers proved their merit as auteurs. Oh, I guess auteur is the real word earlier. Anyway, I'm going to have to look that up. I didn't do that. Pictorialism was a prime style in the 1940s, a mode of photography in which the artist intentionally created the image as opposed to the reliance on automatic mechanical representation. When one of the first art type classes that I took was a black and white photography class, and we took you had to use a manual 35 millimeter camera, and we got to take a few pictures with a large format camera during that class. And there's just a lot of difference looking through that camera compared to looking through the lens of your little 35 millimeter camera. Anyway, that was when I really began to appreciate the beauty of Ansel Adams's photographs. And I realized that when I was developing my own photographs, I could get the contrast that I really liked. But when I was through with that class, and I, took black and white photographs, and I took them in to the photography place to get them developed, they never had the contrast that I got during class, which made me desperately want to have my own studio or dark room so I could develop my own pictures. But that never came to pass. But that experience gave me an even better appreciation of his work than I had prior to that. So I've got a picture of him, and I've got some of his some sad little copies. They're not nearly as good as the real thing, but pictures of some of his photographs, and I just picked out a few. There are thousands to choose from, but I just picked out a few. And then I have a few quotes, and I'm going to read these. There were a lot more quotes too, but I just picked out a few of these. I don't know anybody who needs a critic to find out what art is. Every experience is a form of exploration. A photograph is usually looked at, seldom looked into. Sometimes I arrive just when God's ready to have someone click the shutter. To the complaint, there are no people in these photographs, I respond, there are always two people, the photographer and the viewer. No man has the right to dictate what other men should perceive, create, or produce, but all should be encouraged to reveal themselves, their perceptions and emotions, and to build confidence in the creative spirit. The whole world is, to me, very much alive. All the little growing things, even the rocks. I can't look at a swell bit of grass and earth, for instance, without feeling the essential life, the things going on within them. The same goes for a mountain or a bit of ocean or a magnificent piece of old wood. So, I love those quotes. I couldn't choose a bunch because there's, not that much room. But I'm going to start by just putting down this picture here. I should have kept those pages out so I could use them for for glue. Oh. I was using that glue stick earlier, and I used it to the gloopy stage. So it's goopier than they usually are. Okay. I may not be able to get all these quotes on there, but I hope I can. It's hard to decide. Some of these are really long, and they're going to have to go kind of like this. So let's see what I can do. I may have to, I may make them where they open. I may have to do that because I want to get pictures on here too, not just quotes. Okay, so that's the plan. We're going to make some of them, open, and some of them we're going to and I probably should have inked this, but I've started and I didn't ink those two, so I'm not going to ink any of it. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Gotta make sure I'm not going over a place that I've okay. Well, okay, let's see how many quotes have I got left? 2 short ones and 3 long ones. And I've got 5 photographs left, so I may not be able to use them all. So we're going to have to maybe be a little bit picky. I like that one because it's a close-up, and a lot of them are, majestic like this. This one is a city skylight, and it's, of all these that I pulled, it's my least favorite, but it was so different from the others, I went ahead and chose it. 3 of them have water. Okay. I think I'm going to let that one just go right through there. We're going to let these pages kind of become one big page. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can put, I need to trim these a little bit shorter because I need them to take up as little space as possible. Because the photographs are equally important as the quotes. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll put that one right up there. And okay. Oops. I'm losing stuff. Hmm. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get all of them on there. Let's do it a little bit more so it's obvious you want to, that there's something in there, you need to open it up and read it. Okay. Yeah, let's go like that. There we go. And I have 2 quotes left. I'm not sure. I think that one, this one, I really like it, but it's just going to have to be left out because there's not room for it. Okay, let me get my little glue spatula here. There we go. So there's my ode to Ansel Adams. And let's mark that in here, page 34 and 35. And 35. All right. I'm getting there, slowly but surely. Got to speed it up now. We're almost out of days. Thank you. Bye-bye.